Welcome to the Style of Play podcast. I am your host, Kojo. I am joined by my brother, Basil. How you doing? Snapping the badge already. Fantastic.
That's how I'm doing. That is how I'm doing.
For those of you who are listening by audio, he is hitting his chest because he's proudly wearing the Arsenal jersey today. Haven't seen that in about 12 years, but we're here. We're here. First, other than that, how's your health, man? How's wealth?
Yeah, it's all good. No complaints. Yeah. No complaints.
Good. That's what I like to hear. All right, we'll kick off. We'll start with Arsenal straight away. Pulled out of the hat. Very tough game at St. James's Park. Recently, you've had some very tough games there. Some dubious decision making by referees in some of the games there.
Very dubious.
And this weekend there was some other questionable refereeing decisions that we'll get to. But you guys won the game. You came through 2-1. Yeah. I would argue, to be honest, deservedly so. Jonathan Mikel doesn't seem to agree with that. But how are you feeling about the game and the victory? Because it's a huge one. It's huge.
I feel very good about the victory. I think it's one of those games we just had to come through. In some ways, I do agree with Jonathan Mikel in what he said. Not in everything. There are some parts in terms of that victory isn't the mark of champions because it depends on whether you've done it before or whether you can actually follow on through. So Arsenal could win that game, and if they win, if they lose the next game, then it's irrelevant, this Newcastle game. So it's how you kind of follow through. So these matches kind of become, in terms of it showing you have like the mentality of champions. It only follows through when you start to win games afterwards. If not, then there's no change from Arsenal. So I do agree with John Obi Mikel in that sense. The rest of it didn't agree with him. He was doing it for clickbaits. But
he got me a bit heated. I've realised I'm more of a neutral these days than I wasn't away in the past. But when he was talking about luck, and I was like, well, every team that's ever been great, you need that luck. You do 100%. Need that 100%. So I don't know what he's harping on about. That's a bit crazy to me.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen it from everyone. I mean, teams who win the league, you can go back to any matches in their season. You'll find maybe a few where maybe they've scored last-minute winners, or maybe they've claimed their victory in which they just did not deserve it whatsoever. The other team was on top, and maybe they struck with a late goal or 2 late goals, and they walked away victories. It's part and parcel. The reason why is the mentality of champions, because sometimes you just survive those games. You survive those games, do what you need to do, and then continue on to the next one afterwards. And for me, I watched the highlights after. It was a great victory. Arsenal created a lot more chances. I think Arteta learned from his past mistakes and picked a much better squad. We saw Eze had a very good game this week, or last weekend, sorry. And that's what happens. Sometimes just pick your best team. No messing around, no pride, no trying to prove a point. Pick your best players who are going to perform well and connect well on the pitch, and you'll get your results. Arsenal were lucky to get the results, but it was definitely a much improved performance from what we've seen in recent weeks, which is what Arsenal fans would want to see.
Yeah, no, I can't agree more. I mean, when I saw the lineup, I was like, okay, this is full of intent. This is very full of intent. Saka's back. I wasn't sure about Trossard. I just think, obviously, I know. But go on.
Yeah, no, I'll say this quick. I think that's where Arsenal could be undoing that left wing. It's always been an area we've needed to strengthen. Not for the past 2-3 seasons, we've needed to strengthen that left wing area. So I think that may be the area that lets us down, because clearly I don't see Eze as a left winger. If you're not going to give him the license to roam about in the way that he did with Palace, if you're going to add the restrictions, it's pointless having Eze left wing, because he's not going to do that.
So the question to you is then. Because, I mean, at Palace, he kind of he didn't start there, but he drifted out.
He would drift, exactly.
He had that license, you spoke about that license to run. Do you think Arteta, noticing the quality that he has, especially how he affected the game, especially in the first half, how dangerous he was in almost scoring 2 or 3 opportunities, do you think now with Odegaard's fit, he obviously puts his captain back in the middle, do you think he puts Eze on the left and says, you know what, I'm going to be less structured with you. I want you to go out there and give the best of your ability, or do you think he's still going to stick to type? I'm trying to go on the left and just, I think stay as tight as possible on the wing.
Yeah, I think he'll probably keep either Trossard or Martinelli on the left because they're more suited to it. For me, it's worrying times for Odegaard, because they need to make sure that his performances really pick up now, because what you can see with Eze is that, like I said, he's a lot more effective than Odegaard in terms of he's willing to take strikes when Odegaard isn't. He's willing to play the ball quick when Odegaard isn't. No messing around. So for me, he's a lot more effective than Martin Odegaard. So you either can do one or two things, play them together, or I think Odegaard long term will be the one that faces the bench, regardless of the fact that he's our captain. I think long term he probably is the one that faces it, because I don't think Odegaard is effective in the final third in the way Eze is. Eze is more has his mind more towards goals and creations, rather than I've always said this with Odegaard, and people have gone to me about it. I said for me he's a lot style, very little substance. So he's more worried about making sure that my body's positioned right to play the ball, keeping things ticking along, trying to do the cute things rather than kind of just being effective. And I always compared him to Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne, you give him the ball, he sees it, he plays it. Kevin De Bruyne, give him half the chance, he's going to strike that ball. And that's what you need for players in that position. And I think Eze is that kind of mold of player. If he sees a pass, he's going to make it. If he has an opportunity to shoot, whether right foot or left foot, he's going to take it. And I think that's what Odegaard lets us down a lot. So I think he'll probably bring Odegaard back in when he's fit, but I think Odegaard probably will be on a trial period. That if you're not effective, this guy will replace you. Because the reason why I say that, because I don't think he's going to drop Zubimendi and Rice. I think those are his two favourites in that midfield three. So I can't see him dropping one of those two.
I mean,
that's why.
To be fair, they work well together in my opinion. So far. Because I know there's been times where Zubimendi's seen or going to a space where he can bring the ball forward, and Rice sometimes goes back into his old type, starts passing the ball backwards. So that's a partnership that's building, but they're working well kind of so far. So at least there's promise in there. Newcastle. Yes. Now, they have lost to Liverpool at home, Barcelona at home, and now you guys at home. So the games that they will consider big matches in their home ground, they have dropped points.
Yeah.
I say this. Do you worry for them? I know you don't worry for them, but should Newcastle fans be worried about that kind of standard being the thing, or despite considering that they've lost Isaac, they haven't lost any other big player, but he's the one player they've lost. Do you think there's something still to be worked on that they can build upon, or do you think there's a signal there that maybe they're not as dangerous as they thought they were?
Yeah, as Lass says, Newcastle fans should expect this and shouldn't expect any more than this. Because I've always said, I don't think they have the real quality to match the big teams. I still see Newcastle, even with the squad of players that they have, as a mid-table team. As a team that is, for me, between 6th and 10th, personally. Because when you look at those players, they work. I've always said, everything, the way Newcastle operate is working together, great work ethic, working hard for each other. But they don't have those individual mavericks who can kind of just, and Isak was one of those, who can kind of just magic out something and win them a game, or magic out something and do something special. It's always done with the team working hard together. And you can't operate like that if you want to operate within the top 5 of the Premier League. You kind of need game winners, or you kind of need just high quality, which I don't think Newcastle has at the moment. And so I'm looking at that squad. I don't think that squad is good enough to potentially even get out of the Champions League group phases, potentially, and even and mark a dent in the top 4. I think they'll finish between 6th and 10th this season, because I don't think they have the necessary quality, and they needed to add more quality to their squad in the summer to what they have, and they haven't really and truly. I think I don't see Elanga as a step up from what they have. Wolf Marte, I think his name. I always forget how to pronounce it.
Walter Marte, I believe it is.
Walter Marte, that's it. Walter Marte. He needs time to settle in, but I kind of see him more in the mode of an Andy Carroll type of player. I don't see him. I don't think he'll be of the quality of Isak. I think he'll link up well. He's a good aerial threat, but I can't see him kind of replicating the type of quality that Isak has shown over the years. And like I said, I just don't think the players there are good enough, personally. I don't look at that Newcastle squad and think, I will take any of their players, personally. Some of the players may be good squad players, but I wouldn't take any of them and think some of them will be starters for some of the big boys, to be honest. And that includes Bruno, Guimaraes.
Tonali?
Nah, like I said, I don't rate Tonali that highly. I think he's a good player.
Okay.
And like I said, I think he'll make a good squad player for a big team, him and Guimaraes, but I don't look at him and think, I don't see them of that upper echelon quality, and that's just me personally. But others may think so, and that's fine because obviously football's all about opinions.
Yeah,
But that's how I view them personally.
that's fair. Okay, that's fair. Okay. Before we move on, big games this season for you guys. You've played quite a bit as well already, to be fair. You won 1-0 at Old Trafford. You lost at Anfield, free kick. So it wasn't like they outclassed you. It was a free kick, a very great free kick, to be fair.
Yeah.
City 1-1, which we kind of spoke about the frustrations of the approach. But obviously, you've gone to Newcastle. You've won 2-1 now. Judging of how you started the season,
Yeah.
it's very early, but how are you feeling the formal run until January? Do you think you can get a good consistent run of results, or a couple of bumps along the road?
It's weird. I don't know with Arsenal because in hindsight, no, not in hindsight. If you take away the context of how Arsenal have finished in the last 3 seasons, you'll say it's a good start. We've got some points, haven't played the best, but at least we've kind of only lost to Liverpool, we beat United, drew City, Newcastle. If that was seasons prior, that would have been considered excellent. The issue with Arsenal is that people are looking, can they do anything different from previous seasons? Can they cross the line? And with that, Arsenal need more wins. They need more convincing wins. So I look at this and I say, it for me, it's no different from what I've seen in previous seasons. And so now Arsenal really need to go on a run of wins because that way it tells people that we're different from the last season. We always had interviews on the likes of Rice and Arteta. We've learned from last season. Mentally, we're different. Well, this is the time to show it because the results itself and the performances hasn't proved that so far. But that's fine. You're still in a good position to kind of still challenge for the league. Now it's, can you show you're different from previous season and can you go on a run of games, a run of victories, and not show some of the deficiencies and some of the mental weaknesses that you've shown in previous seasons? Because obviously, if in the next few games Arsenal drop points, then we say it's no different from previous seasons, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering about you guys and how you approach the big games. I mean, Newcastle is a big game because they've tried to make some sort of a rivalry with it. Obviously, they're financially strong and they've bought some good players, as you mentioned. So, it's a tough game. But in reality, the main rivals are always going to be City, Liverpool, United, based off history alone.
There you go. Yeah.
And obviously the North London derby. I'm always intrigued about those 4 games in particular, or 8 if you want to do home and away, just because I want to see how your approach is. I mean, when you came to Old Trafford, I didn't think the approach was good. You got the set piece goal, albeit a goalkeeping era. Era rather. Liverpool, you were maybe 1 or 2 passes away from creating a chance, but that's from creating a chance. No fair chances were created where I could say, oh, you were close to beating them. You look like you're going there for a point, which I don't think is the right approach at times. Against City, I just didn't like the lineup in the first place. And the fact that they got an early goal meant that you needed to take the initiative to get back into the game a lot earlier than you did, but you got a late goal, so you salvaged the point. But for me personally, it's not a point worth celebrating. And then the final one, obviously, you just played this game, which is.
I'll say this, and I totally agree with everything you said, Nketiah. It's the approach, and that for me will tell us something. That Arsenal are still approaching these games as underdogs, even though we built a squad. We shouldn't be going to Liverpool in the manner that we went to Liverpool if you're serious about winning a third title. If you won a title, you can take that approach because then you kind of know how to manage the games over the season. Ultimately, we shouldn't be going to Liverpool in that manner, in the kind of an underdog manner, because we've seen Liverpool this season when we saw them yesterday in the Champions League game. We are there for the taking. It isn't the strongest Liverpool defensively. So there was an opportunity to actually still be solid, but from an attacking sense, take the game to Liverpool. And every other team Liverpool has played, apart from us, have done that to Liverpool. So for me, it shows mentality. There's still a weakness there for us to have that approach against Liverpool. The same against City. City, this is not one of the best City teams we've seen in a very long time. And they're once again there for the taking. But our mentality, we went there as kind of underdogs with that lineup, which for me shows us that we haven't changed. If you build a squad, you should be able to build a squad to take the initiative and take the games to these teams and show that we're a different team. We can take the game to you and our approach is different. So I don't think our mentality has changed under Arteta. which for me is still quite worrying. And I still have questions as to whether we can win the league with that kind of mentality. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Oh, and then finally, one thing that was also worrying for me too was when we scored the equalizer, and I was shouting at my TV. I also sent a voice note to my friend. When we scored the equalizer against City, we were celebrating. I'm like, are you crazy? Like even when Chiesa scored the equalizer against Palace in like the 86, 87 minute, immediately went to pick up the ball halfway line. Let's go get a winner. But Arsenal were celebrating a 93rd minute equalizer when you started 4 minutes, and that for me told me everything about the mentality of these players. It still doesn't show for me a winning mentality when you're doing that.
Well, on that, so this is a weird one because you won the game. You won the game this weekend.
Yeah.
However, when Mikel Merino scored the equalizer,
still want to celebrate.
I was like,
and Declan Rice is telling him get to the halfway line, and which is what I don't understand these players. Are you? I don't know whether it's a weak mentality or it's just like, are you so self-centered? You want to do a celebration? Get the ball and get to the halfway line. A point is not good enough at this point when all your rivals have dropped points, bar City, but everyone else, all the Chelsea, even United. I mean, like I said, United, but at least, as Arsenal fans, we don't like United. Liverpool have dropped points. Tottenham have dropped points. Bournemouth have dropped points. So a victory is all that's required here. You shouldn't be celebrating. I know he scored in like the 87 or 86 minute. Why are you celebrating? Grab the ball, get to the halfway line. Every minute counts at that late stage. If you equalize earlier in the game, like a 50, 60, 70 something minute, go and celebrate. Feel free. But when it's that late in the game, grab the ball, get to the halfway line. I don't understand our players and why we continue doing this as though a point is good enough.
Yeah, no, I agree. But intriguing times. It's very early in the season, but so far, good start. Well, I say good start. I think you're second, 13 points, Liverpool on 15.
Yeah, that's right.
Intriguing start to the season. On Liverpool, interestingly enough, they've lost back-to-back games. We're recording this on a Wednesday. They did lose in the Champions League to Galatasaray. Shame. But we're going to talk about that game. We're going to talk about... who did they play again? Palace.
Yeah.
Now, they lost 2-1 to Crystal Palace. And genuinely... it's not even about trying to be overjoyful that a rival of mine and yours lost. It's more the fact that watching their games this season, they have got away with points in games that they shouldn't probably have got points from. And Palace, from start to finish, deserved the 3 points. There is no debate. In fact, they should have been about 4-0 up by the first half.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for Alisson or poor attempts at goal by Arteta, that's the only reason why it ended 2-1. It should have been a drubbing. Your old boy, talking about a man doing the job for Arsenal, Eddie Nketiah, your defense is in trouble. Scored the winner. But Palace, 18 games unbeaten. Leicester having a very fine time there. They're doing a very good job. Are you impressed by them? And number two, before I put my 2 pence in it, do you think the links to bigger clubs for Glasner has been earned?
100%. I mean, this is why I always say, with managers, coaching can take you very far. I mean, like I said, let's not forget, before he joined Palace, he had already won a Europa League with Eintracht Frankfurt. So obviously this man has credentials before coming to Palace, and he's come to Palace. Like I said, Palace were in a terrible state when he came, and they more or less still have the same players that he walked in there with. They've also lost some brilliant players during that time. I don't know if Zaha was there when he was still manager. Maybe not. But like I said, look at it. He's lost the likes of Elise. He's now lost Eze. But look at what he's been able to build with that Palace team. Like I said, without having too much funding or too many top quality players coming in the club. That, for me, this is why I rate managers. You give them resources, they don't have the best resources. What can you do with what you have? And that, for me, is where I start to rate managers, where you start to see the change of philosophy, how he's able to coach players, get them defensively solid, but also have an attacking plan. We also did an interview where I think it was last season, maybe he was talking about 4-4-2 is his preferred formation to play, where it says he doesn't have the caliber or the type of players he needs to play that formation. So he has to adapt. That is a sign of a good manager. I think what we have with managers these days, a lot of the new managers, they lack adaptability. They're all stuck to a philosophy. Philosophy is not going to win you things. You need to understand things, adapt, make changes, and be able to pivot when you need to. Because the aim of the game is about winning games. It's not about standing by philosophies. How can you win a game? What do you have? How can you alter that? And you're seeing that with Glasner. He's done an absolutely fantastic job to win an FA Cup, to beat Liverpool in the Community Shield, and have a fantastic start to the season. Remember, last season they did have a bad start to the season, but they did have quite a few injuries. Yeah. But then kind of when they got the players back, look how sensational Palace were. For me, he's a great manager. And for me, if he has links to big clubs, it is more than well deserved. More than well deserved. Because as like I said, he's worked wonders with Frankfurt and he's working wonders with Palace right now.
Yeah, no, he is. And that's asked the question because he's been linked with United. I'll get to that when we speak about United and their result and obviously the future of Ruben Amorim. But he is impressive. I mean, the one thing I think that sticks out is the fact that you're talking about tactical flexibility. The style and the formation that you saw at Frankfurt is very different to what you see in that Palace. Yeah. So he's obviously very much adapted to the players he's got around him. Yeah. I think that works at a club like Palace because I think you've got players that want to work and they want to prove a point. I think at a club like United where players are a bit not even a bit, they're very much stuck in their ways and they're very selfish and want to play their only preferred way and not any other way. I don't think you have as much success in getting the best out of those players that have been there for a long time and feel like they can do certain things their way.
I would say
that might be the personality change. Yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
I would also say this as someone who has played football in the past. I don't want to be here defending United players, but we'll give them a little defense in terms of remember this: players are also human beings. So players understand when things work and when things are not working. So if I go to Man United quickly, some of those players may have like tried to buy into like the ideas Amorim or previous managers have tried to implement. Sometimes if it isn't working, players know when it isn't working. And sometimes it's hard for players to buy into something that just isn't working because players will buy into it if it's working. So like I said, they may have seen the formation, the tactics and realize, oh, this isn't working. And it's very difficult for players to pivot because players want to have a level of flexibility where let's try this idea that doesn't work. Let's try this idea. This may work. And once they buy into an idea that works, you see a change. Sometimes it's hard for players when it's been drummed, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it, and there's no level of flexibility. And it's easy for players to kind of be demotivated by that. Because I've been there before where I played games, you play the system with players and it's working and you're enjoying it. And then you play with someone else and they have these different ideas. And you just say, why you continue with this idea? It's not working. And you realize you will never get the best out of players. It's easy for players to just be demotivated. Like, this is pointless. Why isn't it working? So I think it's also... the manager needs to be smart enough to understand when some of these ideas, it can be a demoting factor for the players. And that's why you need to listen to players, understand and work with them. And that's why I like I say, what Glasner's done. He's come in, he hasn't just tried it, he's seen what he has, seen what they can do. And like I said, he's probably worked with them to understand what best worked for the team. And you can see they've all bought into the idea. Because like I said, under him, a lot of players have been shining under him. We're seeing Gay kind of like become a focal point when in that team where people recognize his talents. Adam Walton, people recognize his talents. Mateta, let's be brutally honest, he wasn't great before Glasner. Even I question his ability. Look at the improvement he's made. Look at the improvements the likes of Elise and Eze who have left have made that has allowed them to get moves to big clubs. You're seeing players improve in that squad. And for me, that's the mark of a good manager.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with that. I cannot disagree with that. Before we move on to Liverpool quickly, just to go on to your point as well, I actually had a conversation about Glasner yesterday, and I was like, no one's even spoken about do they think he's good in the transfer window and stuff. But then I realised, for example, obviously they've lost Eze this year and they've replaced him with Yeremy Pino. Now, if you look at Pino's numbers when he was in Spain, they're not fantastic numbers, I'll be fair. And I don't think he's going to replace maybe the number of goals and assists that Eze will have. But what he's allowed is that when he fits into this, when he starts into his position in the team, the game plan and the style does not need to change. It does not need to deviate from anything just to suit him or accommodate him. He has walked in and the football remains the same. So whether they're in possession or whether they're doing a counter-attacking style for whatever the opponent is, they continue with their brand of football. And they're not struggling to get a result. And he's walked into that. And I think he's going to get a bit more comfortable, start getting more numbers, and he'll be one of the signings of the season. So that's a good. I think that's a good signing for them. So credit to Glasner and Palace on that as well. It's definitely a well orchestrated thing. Now, Arne Slot. I'm not gonna go crazy on him. First loss of the season in the league. Obviously, they lost back to get back against in the Champions League, like I mentioned earlier. Yeah. But he's starting to make some very odd comments.
Yes.
Very, very, very odd comments. Just want to get your 2 pence on that, because what do you think? What do you think's going on here? Why is he singling out people? Why is he? Well, yeah. Why is he just moving a bit odd?
Yeah, I don't understand, because he's singling out people. The first one was the sending off by Nketiah, which we all know is stupid, but I think it was harsh for him to come out into the media and express it. Usually managers will express that behind closed doors and come in and use a lot softer words to explain it to the media, which he didn't, which I found very strange, to be honest, because we've seen a lot of players get stupid red cards, but the manager will still kind of defend them in the media. And then obviously, internally have a word. Then obviously it was when they conceded against Palace. He didn't name a specific player, but he said one player was looking to go forward rather than defend. And I thought that was absolutely needless. Yeah. Same as he was there talking about set pieces, need to defend better set pieces. There's clubs who win games by set pieces. Maybe they should. I mean, you won 3 games through set pieces this season. So I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know. It's very strange with him this season. I think he's making too many changes this season. But also hearken to this. I didn't think people talking about Liverpool's transfer window. I didn't think it was a good transfer window whatsoever. And I did highlight that. The only thing I was a bit worried about.
You did say that, to be fair. You did say that, yeah.
Yeah, because what people don't, because what people did is they just saw the signings, but then it's like, how effective are the signings? Even the departures were a big loss, because one thing Liverpool always had is they always had depth. And players who knew the system and could come in and out the team. So like I said, I've always said losing Luis Diaz, Harvey Elliott and Nunez is actually a big loss for Liverpool. Because yes, Liverpool fans may complain about them, but they did contribute a lot to Liverpool's success, because there were games where they needed to start, they contributed. There's games that will come off the bench and contribute because they knew the system and could create chaos and chances for Liverpool. Nunez may not have scored many key chances, but let me tell you this, through his movement and through the things he does create space for other people to score goals. Yeah. Same as Diaz, he understands that system in that left wing or playing up front, which allows other players to thrive. So I've always said, I'll speak to a friend and said, losing Diaz, Nunez and Harvey Elliott was a big mistake for Liverpool, because they've lost a bit of depth. Because like I said, Wirtz is a good player, but for me, never ever worth the money that they played. I didn't even think they even needed Wirtz. For me, that was a vanity signing. I didn't understand where he was going to play or what they were going to do, because the position he plays, for me, wasn't a key area. What Liverpool needed to do, as other clubs should do, first sort out your key areas. Your key areas was the defence. So you needed another centre-back. That should have been your first signing. So they tried to do it last day of the transfer window, fell through. Frimpong for me is not an upgrade from Trent, because obviously for Trent's defensive liabilities, you could forgive it because of how technically superior it was in terms of the chance creation. Trent isn't your traditional fullback where he overlaps and whips on the ball. He can hurt teams through his through passes. He can hurt teams through his final ball. He can hurt teams through his pinpoint crossing. He can hurt teams through his technique in terms of shooting. So there's various ways as to which Trent can create chances, which allows you to kind of forgive his defensive liabilities. Frimpong, for me, isn't a good defender. And for me, doesn't give you the same level of output going forward as Trent does. He's like your traditional fullback where he would overlap and look to whip in the ball. But it doesn't give you the same quality of chance creation that Trent does. So for me, I didn't think that was a great signing to replace Trent. I thought Kirkes was a good signing, but unfortunately, he needs time to kind of settle in very raw.
Yep.
Like I said, they signed Nketiah, And then they did a vanity signing of Isak, which they didn't need, because I'm like, you don't need two strikers costing that amount of money. Because let's be honest, I know Liverpool fans will put their heads in headlights and try and deny one of them is going to be in the bench, and we know who's going to be on the bench. So what do you do with Nketiah, who you spent that amount of money on, sitting on the bench? It's problematic. And I've said, like, the team is not going to gel together because I don't understand with all the players they bought how they're going to fit into that system. So I went back and I said that transfer window was not a good transfer window for Liverpool. What it was a vanity transfer window where they tried to sign all these glamorous names and pull the wool over our eyes and say, oh yeah, we're Liverpool, we're back, we can do this. No, build a team effective. Look at City. City never went for glamorous signings. If it was a glamorous signing, it was a needed signing. But they always looked at who is effective for our team. And that's the reason why Guardiola dominated for as long as he did. Liverpool, for me, have done it all wrong. And obviously, Isak is paying for all the crimes he did in the summer because he is so unfit at this moment and just not ready to be playing games for Liverpool at this moment because he hasn't had a pre-season. He's been training alone and missed the beginning of the season.
It's interesting because I think when we're talking about this, people listen back, but they're top of the table. They've won 5 out of 6. They beat Atletico in the Champions League, and obviously that's why I lost was a bit bad. But in hindsight, it's not a terrible start to the season. But my question is, so when I looked at the signings, now Verts, I was like, okay, creative player, but I don't know how that's going to work in England. Isak, to be honest, I expected more from Isak, but you make a fair point. Yes, that is pre-season.
The thing is that the Isak signing isn't bad if, like I said, they got their ducks in a row and did that early. But once they signed Nketiah, it was an absolutely pointless signing at that point because it was just about vanity. Because what I'm saying is that they had other areas that they needed to sort out first before they chased Isak. But like I said, it's all vanity.
Well, I mean, if he manages to start scoring goals and Nketiah still manages to contribute, then they'll be like, you know what, we're laughing, which is it's a big maybe.
Yeah.
But the Frimpong one in particular is the one that kind of got me, and the reason why I said that is because I think if you remember when we did one of the pods towards the start of the season, I said I did think anyway, I was wrong. As I say, it hasn't happened like this, but I did think that Arne Slot would go to a back 5. Simply because he is much more of a wing back than a fullback. So if you're putting him in a back 4, you're basically saying that you're going to give him that license to go forward, but you're giving a space at the back. Now, to compensate, because he's so fast, he has the recovery speed. He's not going to have that luck against every team. In fact, if you look at how Liverpool have defended this season, a lot of the chances have come from Konate's side. But on Konate's side is a Frimpong. And he more time when he's getting attacked, there is no support on his right side because Frimpong is nowhere to be found. So that in itself has created an issue for Konate. Konate's defending itself as an individual has been poor. But those added elements, you're not helping yourself there. So that's the first trouble.
To even quickly add to what you said, like for instance, yesterday's match, Frimpong played right wing, Szoboszlai played right back. That tells you everything about about that signing and how that is viewed by Slot in terms of the first few games he's played. But back over to you.
That's a very key point. In fact, thank you for saying that. I completely forgot Szoboszlai played right back, and he's played right back a couple of times this season. So it tells you what is the story here. Does he trust him? It doesn't sound like it. So maybe he's a full back. He's a full back 5 type player that won't work in a back 4, and that's how players are coached these days. So if you're okay in a back 5, you don't know what to do in a back 4. So that signing is going to cost issues because whilst Szoboszlai has done an okay job, I say an okay job because that's the best he can do. He's not going to be a natural there. You don't want him to be there because that's just not his position. But it's an intriguing time. But they lost against a team that very much deserved it. Palace will be very happy with the fact that they've beaten them in both the Community Shield and the league now. So they'll be hoping to get the double when they go to Anfield. Let's quickly move on to Chelsea.
I've got a quick question before we go and move on to Chelsea.
Yeah, go on.
That's your opinion on him so far.
Now, I'll try and put agenda aside. Similar to what I was saying about Madueke and Arsenal, I don't know what that signing's for. because Liverpool's set up in the last couple of years. I know Slot is a different manager to Klopp, but if you're going to sign him and you're going to sign someone like Kirkes and Frimpong on the sides, this is why I was talking about wingbacks, because the only way I think that's going to work is if you have two midfielders, Verts as a 10, and then your two strikers. Then you play Nketiah and Isak together. That's the only way I think it works. Verts looks like he doesn't know what to do once he gets into the final third, because his usual options are a number 9 and the two wingers and an extra supporting midfielder behind him, from the two behind him. Liverpool look like they're trying to fit him in the 4-3-3, and then because I haven't played the 4-2-3-1 very often, they don't know how to make that work cohesively. The second issue is, until Isak is fit and firing, it is in their best interest to just continue with Gakpo on the left and Nketiah up top. I know you spend a lot of money on Isak, a lot more than anybody else, but you still spend a lot of money on Nketiah, and he started fantastically well. So whilst Verts is struggling to find his feet, you need to take advantage of that situation. So that's my 2 thoughts on that. But long may it continue, man. Long may it continue, because they're almost trying to run 007 on Sesko. That didn't work, did it? So you go on Chelsea very quickly. Can't really discuss them in too much detail because a certain Chelsea fan is not here. But they lost 3-1, which I'm honestly shocked it was 3-1, because when it was 2-1, I was like, okay, game done. Let me just go and get about my business, get ready for the half-5. And then I go on my phone, I go on live score to check the fixtures. Oh, no, sorry, the lineup for the next game. And I see the third goal, Danny Welbeck. Chelsea. Enzo Maresca. I'll give credit to Theo on one thing. He predicted a loss last weekend. He said they were going to lose.
Oh my gosh.
And everything that he said was going to happen, happened. What's your assessment of Chelsea so far? Honest assessment.
Terrible. Honestly, terrible. The thing is this, I still cannot believe that Chelsea are still not being held to account, considering the fact that they spent almost £2 billion on that team, and they still don't have a team to compete, or they still don't have a team that the manager thinks is good enough. It is absolutely crazy. Let's not also talk about they also got lucky, because when it was 1-1, Brighton should have been given a penalty when Malo Gusto picked a play on his head, and VAR decided not to give a penalty, which for me was just, I could not believe it for the life of me. How on earth that was not given as a penalty? But we'll leave the referees for another week, because we know about that. But yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, they've also had 3 red cards in the last 4 matches, which is also another issue, because João Pedro got sent off yesterday. But like I said, Tottenham got sent off against Brighton. I mean, it's just worrying at Chelsea. It's just worrying that you have a manager there who tactically doesn't seem to really know what he's doing there on a consistent basis, doesn't really know his team, because he's still chopping and changing players in that team, which for me is also a worry. I just think Enzo Maresca is out of his depth, if I'm being brutally honest. That for me is just the honest thing, but I think he's just out of his depth, and he's not. I don't think he's shown the qualities yet to manage a big club, or manage them with high expectations, because I'm surprised that the guy is not under pressure. I'm just surprised, because like I said, if we take last season was a terrible season. He did what he was supposed to do. They should have won the Conference League. They played some really, really terrible teams in that competition. So there was no excuse not to win that competition. And like I said, he scraped, it was 5th he scraped, or was it 4th in the end?
I think it was 4th. I think it was top 4. Yeah, I think it was top 4.
Are you sure? Wasn't it City? So it was Liverpool, Arsenal, City. Yeah, it was 4th, because Newcastle finished.
Tottenham got them through the Europa League. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Is like they just scraped 4th. So it wasn't as if it was a convincing top 4 finish. But yeah, like I said, this season will tell me a lot about where Chelsea's Maresca is. And for me right now, it's just been a bad start. And he has no clue what he's doing with that team, or what he's doing at Chelsea. And I'll leave that there.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think it's an intriguing time. I mean, look, their signings this summer have baffled me.
Gittins isn't starting. I mean, I spent 50-something million. The guy's not starting.
Yeah.
Garnacho, didn't understand that signing.
Don't know what he was. Hato, I don't know what he was.
João Pedro seems to be on bad form at the moment because he's not really performing. I can't remember the other signings. They signed so many players.
Yeah. I mean,
Buonanotte, I didn't understand that signing, but he's starting games the last 2 games of them.
Completely forgot about him. Gosh. And Hato as well is the one that's baffled me as well because
I thought they brought him in to be a centre back. If they didn't buy him in to be a centre back, then you needed a centre back course. Should have been 2 centre backs. Should have been the first 2 signings they made in that summer. And clearly they haven't made any because Hato isn't playing there.
Precisely. This is why I asked Theo the question of who is making the signings. Is it do you have a target in place in your mind, or is it actually the board just saying this is what you've got, use it, similar to what Real Madrid used to do back in the day with their managers?
I'll say this. I'm mad for Maresca. I doubt Maresca. I'll say that I'm 100% sure Maresca has no say in those signings. It's upstairs. They give him what he wants. No, they give him the players and he has to manage that. But like I said, that's fine. No, maybe not fine. He probably but he knew what he was signing for. But they still have quality there. There's still quality there to get a tune out of those players. Because if Glasner getting out a tune out of the players he has at Palace, there's no excuse at Chelsea. They still have quality there. That's the issue.
Yeah. Well, good luck, Chelsea. Theo, when you listen to this, we will discuss Chelsea again. By the way, I'm not forgetting about this game. Even if we win on the weekend, we're still coming back to this one. United. Let's go there. Now, obviously, we mentioned Glasner earlier and his links. United lost 3-1 to Brentford. So the supposed high of beating Chelsea and trying to get some level of form started completely diminished away within the first 20 minutes of the game because Harry Maguire played everyone onside for some reason when Luke Shaw, who people were telling him to get forward. The right thing to do. Second goal, I can't remember the second goal. Palmed into the direction of him by Arteta. United pulled one back through Sesko, his first goal, but it didn't matter because they closed the game late on when they shot. I forgot who scored the third goal.
Not Damsgaard. Yeah, was it? I've forgotten. Yeah,
I can't remember who it was, but it was a very baffling goal because the ball went into the middle of the net. I was thinking, where's the goalkeeper going? But regardless, now there is a theme that has happened with every Man United game this season. And I don't know how many people have noticed it. I have certainly noticed it. But therein lies there's 2 problems that come out of it. So in every single game that Manchester United have played this season, they have had, apart from City, City actually destroyed Man United. Apart from Manchester City, Man United have dominated shots. They have dominated possession. They have dominated a lot of passes. They have dominated corners won. But they keep either scraping a win or just embarrassing themselves with a negative result. And here comes another one with Brentford. So there's 2 problems here, in my opinion. And then obviously I'll let you go off on it. Yeah. One, the players not doing their job and finishing in the final third and not doing their job defensively.
Yeah.
But on the defensive side, number 2, when you keep picking players that deep let you down, you are going to suffer as a manager. So, Mr. Amorim, and it hurts me to say this because, as you know, I was shouting from about 2-3 years prior that I wanted to be the next manager, right?
Yeah.
So this one is not one that I take any joy in. But I digress. Luke Shaw, from the moment he came back last season for you, either put in a poor performance or scored an own goal. Harry Maguire is done. And I think something that has become very glaringly obvious to me in the last 2 weeks, and I was trying to save it until I was fully convinced that I was maybe right in my mind and I wasn't bugging. Bruno Fernandes' legs are gone. They're absolutely gone and they're shot.
Interesting. You're probably one of the first people to actually say that. I think most fans have talked about the bad performances, but I don't think anyone's kind of talked about like the legs. I think, well, maybe people have, but you're the first person I've heard kind of mention it.
Yeah, because you can see so much from once someone's playing certain midfield, whether they're natural there or they're just playing there. A certain midfield, you can see when they're starting to slow down, and maybe they need a slower league or slower pace this time and the other. Like Luka Modric,
De Bruyne, you saw it with him.
Yeah, they're thriving in Italy right now, but they can't match the pace of the Premier League and La Liga anymore. That's normal. That's okay. Bruno Fernandes in centre midfield wasn't a case of, oh man, he's not a centre midfielder, he can't play there for me. I just noticed in that game that he just can't do the job anymore. His legs are completely shot, and whether people want to say that's because he's been the main man for so many years and he's carried the burden of having to score the goals and this, that, and the other. The point is, he's past his due date now.
Yeah,
he's done. It's expiry season now. It's a long time. It's been a long time coming, and I think we need to address that big time, because now this is when I get back to Amorim. If I can see it, you with the lad every week, training with him every day, playing matches, I think you need to be able to see that he's not the one. He might be captain, he might be your main goal getter, creator, whatever, but he's not.
It's the performances that probably worry you. And I've said it for a very long time, especially when it comes to Bruno Fernandes, in terms of I've said he will score goals, he will sometimes create chances, but I've always said it doesn't cover some of the bad performance. I think overall Bruno Fernandes' time over at United hasn't been great, and I think it's just been covered by goals and assists, because if you watch his performances, overall it has never been good. I've always said as a midfielder, I think he's a very poor midfielder, because his execution of things, whether it's passes, through balls, or creativity, is very low. Yes, he may get some right, but then when you look at the attempts in games, he's very, very unsuccessful in a lot of those. And then secondly, it just doesn't give you good midfielders' performances. And in big games, just doesn't turn up in big games. And like I said, the things that cover this are his goals. But then I don't really care about goals, because especially when I look at where United, I'm looking at performances. So for me, I've always said I think Bruno Fernandes should be a squad player, not a regular starter, because I just don't think he performs regularly enough. And then I agree with you in regards to defense. I've always said this. I've always said United's biggest problem over the last 2, maybe 3 years has been their defense. People have always talked by attackers, by strikers. I've always said until you buy proper defenders who can defend, you will continue to be in the same position, which is why you're having to use the likes of Maguire again, having to use the likes of Luke Shaw, centre back. Like I said, I didn't really rate De Ligt very prior to come to Manchester United, and I didn't think it was the right signing, but he hasn't consistently performed for Manchester United. And I think the goal itself was just reflective of Harry Maguire as a defender. For me, Harry Maguire is a good defender when he has to play very, very deep and has other people to protect him. But asks Harry Maguire to defend in the way that the likes of Saliba defends, Van Dijk defends, is just not good enough. And that goal shows it, because a good defender will realise that if I'm going to play offside, I need to make sure that I'm 100% sure I'm going to step up and get that correct. Otherwise, what you do is you make sure that you're positioned in a way to defend against the striker. What Harry Maguire did on the weekend was lazy. He didn't want to defend. So what he tried to was take the coward's way out and play an offside, which then went against him. And for me, it just shows me that the height of what I've seen from Harry Maguire. He's not a good defender and doesn't want to defend in a way that's befitting of a defender at a big club. But like I said, at United, unless you buy proper defenders, Kojo, I can't see things changing.
Well, I echo that. The thing is, when we signed the forwards, I was happy because we scored 44 league goals last season.
Which is needed, yeah.
Was needed, so I was like, but I was also hoping, because it became very clear that the sort of the financial news put out by Ineos was kind of a lie. Yeah. And it was more so to delay that transfers until July, so they could spend a lot more freer in the market, and which is not a bad tactic. But then if you're going to sign players, you need to address all areas as much as you can anyway. Yeah. And I think 2 areas that needed to be addressed one more time was centre midfield and centre back. And because I like Euro, I like De Ligt, I like Martinez, but he's not fit at all. I like Heaven, but he's supposed to be like a backup. He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be the guy. Okay, all right. These kids don't like me talking football. He shouldn't be the guy. Like there's so many glaring errors, and whether that's Amarim and the board saying, let's get these guys first and address these players after, or whatever the case was. What kind of worried me was when they bid for Belieber. Now, if that bid is accepted and we get him, that's fantastic, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
So if you can make that kind of offer for him, try and use your scouting nous and all the scouting jobs that you've done over the summer and the last summer before. Look at some players that maybe they might be lesser quality, but they fit the bill.
Yeah.
In terms of what the system's going to be, they cost a little bit less money, rather, I should say. Maybe wages are not much of an issue.
Yeah.
Do the same thing for centre backs. So then you can look at Harry Maguire and look at Luke Shaw, similar to what Anthony did, because Anthony dug his heels in and said, "Hey, well, you need to pay me off, or you need to give me this, or you need to give me that before I go anywhere else." Well, you said to the other guys, Maguire, you got your last year of your contract, so you need to find a club now. We're taking any fee for you. Get out. You're not playing. Luke Shaw, you're almost out of contract. Find someone else and go. You're not playing. You need to dig your heels in, and they didn't do that. And what's not helping is the fact that Amarim keeps playing those two individuals in particular and other individuals that let him down, because they're gonna say, well, I don't need to rush to look for another because until you find players to replace me, you need me here.
Yeah.
And that's where they are right now. So, the performances aren't going to change. And this is my next point. Now, people are saying, go to a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. It suits the team. They're going to get the results. You'll see. You'll be better performances. You start winning games. That might happen for about 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
We've been here before. We've all been here before. Whether you're a United fan, whether you're like yourself or anyone else has seen United maybe pick up a couple of performances when they've changed their style a little bit or their formation, you're always waiting for but when is it going to come tumbling down again? And that's not going to change anything. So now when it comes to Amarim, I will forever say the reason I think he's going to lose his job very, very soon is because he's just been stubborn in allowing the players that have not been good enough for him to continue to play.
Yeah.
But I don't think, bar a few players, the other players are going to improve regardless of formation or tactical setup. That's what I was asking about earlier. Obviously, you spoke about players are human beings, and that's absolutely fair. So when something's not working, it's not working. My issue with a certain crop of them, it's not all of them, a certain crop of them, is they have been in this club long enough and they've played a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, 3-5-2, 3-3, 4-4-2, and they have not done anything for me to be like, this is the better.
Yeah, I understand that.
So that's where my issue is. But look, they deserve to lose at Brentford. Brentford were better. In terms of how you look at a game is played, whilst might have better XG and yada yada yada, the game is won on how you score your goals and how effectively you attack. And Brentford were more than deserving. So credit to Brentford, 3 points. Good win for Keith Andrews as well. I'm sure 2 or 3 games where he wins and Man United fans say a goal for him as well. So I think that's my thoughts on Man United. But they've got Sunderland next. Before we wrap up,
you better win that game. Otherwise, I fear for Amarin if you don't win. If you lose that game, especially because you're at home, I fear for Amarin.
He's gone. He has to win. I firmly believe that. I don't believe the sort of news out there from the Twitter ITKs and all those guys saying they've had conversations and if he doesn't win at Sunderland I don't know, whatever the news is. For me, simple as this, he has to beat Sunderland.
Yeah.
Because then if he doesn't beat Sunderland, then man have to really, really look and say, hey guys, come on, man, this can't continue to run anymore.
100%.
It just can't. So, and he's only had 9 wins in his time here. It's just not good enough, man. It's poor. So if beating Sunderland would be great, but 10 wins in a year because he came in November. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. He's my guy. I love the guy. I'm not even Amarim out. I would love for him to turn it around, but there's some things that can't be defended, and that's one of them. So I'm not gonna waste my energy with that. But we'll talk about the games this weekend. Quick predictions before we call it a day. Let me get the fixtures on my phone because I only know who Man United are playing. You're playing West Ham, aren't you?
No, we've got West Ham at home.
Give me a prediction.
Okay. I think Arsenal 3-0.
Arsenal 3-0. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the 5 o'clock, the early kickoff of the days. on Saturday is Leeds United versus Tottenham.
I'm going to go. I'm probably going to go 2-1 Leeds because I know Leeds are at home. So I'm going to go to Tottenham. Haven't played one. Even Tottenham yesterday were lucky to get a draw against Bodo Glimt. Bodo Glimt wasted so many chances. Should have scored more than 2 goals. And yeah, Tottenham were lucky to walk away with 2-2. And they just haven't played one in the last 2 games. And like I said, they struggled against Wolves of all team. So I think it'll be 2-1 Leeds because I think Leeds have started the season well. So I think they'll beat Tottenham.
That's fair. I forgot about the Friday game. Sorry, 8 o'clock on Friday.
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth Fulham, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna just give it to Bournemouth 2-1. I probably would have changed my mind if Fulham didn't lose against Aston Villa on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I probably gonna go Bournemouth 2-1 for that one.
I think Bournemouth win 2-0. I think that'll be convincing. I didn't even say Leeds Tottenham. I think that's a draw. I think West Ham Arsenal. I think it'll be 2-1 Arsenal, but they'll give you a tight game because they got Nuno in charge now.
I think so too. Yeah.
United Sunderland.
You're not gonna like this.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Sunderland.
Oi, if it's 2-1 Sunderland, remember him. It's been lovely, man. See you later. Boy, I'd see this. I can't.
So you're conflicted.
I can't confidently give United results anymore, man. Okay, just because I wanted to succeed, and that's the only reason why I wanted to turn it around. 2-0 United, but that's as far as I'm going. If it's anything else, I'm gonna sit here and be like, Chelsea, Liverpool.
Oh, I'm gonna go 2-2.
2-2. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I'm intrigued by this one. Because both teams can't defend.
Yeah, that's the issue. That's why I went 2-2.
You know what? It's gonna annoy me, but I think Liverpool win this 3-2.
Okay.
I think they sneak away again.
Okay, fair enough.
So, yeah, I don't say that with much joy in my heart. On Sunday we've got 5 games.
5 on Sunday. Wow.
5 games on Sunday with 4 of them at 2 o'clock.
I forgot they do that.
This Premier League scheduling is a bit anyway. Villa Burnley.
I'm gonna go 1-1.
1-1. I'm going 2-1 Burnley. Everton Palace.
Oh, I'm gonna go 2-0 Palace.
I'll agree with you there. I'll agree with you. Actually, no, I'll go 2-1. I think Everton will score. Okay. I'll go 2-1. Newcastle, Nottingham Forest. Yeah, man. Sorry, Ange. I can't lie to you. Every game that Forest play, I'm saying 3-0 to the club.
I was about to say that. I think I'm going to go 3-0 Newcastle.
Yeah. Honestly, if there's any Forest fan listening, it's nothing to do with your club. I think you're a great club. I just want the owners to realize how stupid they were. So I need your team to get smacked up again.
Yeah, but Ange he can't. Yeah, Ange just doesn't know how to organize a team. For me, do you know what it is? And it's crazy that I'm actually agreeing with this. I saw some Allardyce was in a pod, and they're talking about Ange, and you're saying that that's the issue. No managers are not adaptable. He was saying, and they reference Ange because of sacking Nuno, and they're saying, well, what has he got? He's got no tactics. He says as a group of players, he sticks to one style of play, and doesn't change or adapt from that. And Sam Allardyce was like, he has no tactics. That's the issue. And I was like, I agree. I don't know what Ange Postecoglou's tactics are as a manager. He starts the same way and wants to end the same way and wants to continue that through every game of the season. That's not a good manager, in my opinion.
I mean, I see what his idea is. He wants to be high possession, high line, but the issue is you can do that at Celtic where you are so far comfortably better than everybody.
There you go, exactly.
So far better than everybody else. Whereas when you're at Tottenham, who at one point built a squad which was really good, but then completely dismantled that squad because they didn't do anything with them.
Yeah.
You can't play that high line knowing that, in fact, especially knowing when two of your centre backs are injury prone. So you lose Romero and Van der Ven, you're done. You lose one of them, you're done. He was doing it with Ben Davies. It doesn't make sense.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I can't lie.
So with that, I'm going 3-0 Newcastle because I just don't think Ange, the Forest are a completely different team under Ange. That defensive, solid stability just isn't there anymore. So I'm going Newcastle 3-0.
Yep, I'm with you. Let's go. Wolves, Brighton.
Oh yeah. 2-0 Brighton.
2-0 Brighton. I'll go 1-1.
Okay.
It'll be very yeah, I think it'll be 1-1. I think Wolves would sneak a point. They ain't getting much points. This is gonna be one of their points this season. They ain't getting much points. I think they're gone. I think they're done already.
They need to be good, to be honest. So
yeah, honestly. And finally, Brentford, Man City.
I am going to go 2-1 Brentford.
I would love that, so that we're not the only Manchester Cup getting beaten there. However, I feel like Man City are going to show us how it's done. So I think it's going to be 3-0 Man City.
Wow.
Personally, yeah. Brentford are good, but I think City do them. But yeah, okay, all right. That's about it then. Is it? You guys got Champions League next week or anything in particular?
Yeah, so we've got Champions League today. So we're playing what's that team? Olympiacos at home.
Oh, you're playing today. Today's Wednesday. Yes.
Yeah, today's Wednesday. So we've got Olympiacos at home.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, so yeah, because I think they no longer do the alternating thing. I think now it's everyone's just, because it's group stages, is just Wednesdays and Thursday rather than the alternating weeks that they used to do in the past.
Okay, yeah, you're fine. You'll win, no problem. Arsenal 5-0, to be completely honest with you. All right. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Especially drop some comments as well. Let us know what you think. Basil, anything to drop before we go?
No, nothing from me. Same as Gojo. Like and subscribe to the channel.
Lovely. Hopefully we don't see that shirt next week. All right, guys. See you later. Peace.